Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io, but if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the news version earlier, you can go to their Patreon. $5 a month, $54 a year. So, on the last Let's Play, it turns out it was all a dream! But, you know, real, because Spencer was communicating to us through dream state. At which point he told us to wake up, we went into his house, he explained some more things like pheromones and whatnot. Details aside, he gave us a vial that would A, reduce the haze that, the pheromones induced us, and B, would make us not produce pheromones ourselves, at least for a little bit of time. Explain that as time goes on, the effects will wane, And also that there's a secret government organization looking to find these immortals to experiment and dissect them so that they can get the information, some information of, how to not exactly prevent sterilization and all that stuff, but to make people immortal because, they're immortal. Immortal-ish, because, they can live for thousands of years, but then... But anyways, he told us to go to another town over so that we can get an expensive bottle of booze for Ty, because, that's his, thank you gift, and also, we are as well. It is really weird how this game is, because it's like Diego's route, relationship stuff, and the fighting tournament. Ty's route, dating a sugar daddy in a way, and also immortals and the origin of their species and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, that's two very different things. It would be like playing, I don't know, Dawn Chorus, and, playing one route and it being Dawn Chorus, and then playing different routes and it being Echo. Maybe not Echo, but you know what I mean. Let's start. I had arrived in the nick of time, my feet aching in response to the long distances that they had walked. I smirked slightly, the consideration that all that exercise would counter the effects of Diego's greasy breakfasts as source of mild amusement. Nonetheless, I was thankful that the torrential downpour I had endured on my first journey had ceased. My fur stank like, well, wet dog. But a shower could wait. Ty's gift took precedence above all else. If you were to, put water on a dog and then dry them off with a towel, would they smell like wet dog? Or is that just hey, they got wet and then they just had to air dry? So long as I remembered to have one before I delivered it to him. What kind of awful gift would I be if I turned up smelling like feet? Hey, you might like the smell of feet. In stark contrast to the day I had arrived in Woodcrest. Seems like a typo. The train station was sparsely populated. From what I could see, peering through the windows, the train was no different. While I didn't regret meeting Axe one bit, I was looking forward to some alone time on this particular journey. It do be like that. Sometimes. With no luggage in tow, I handed the ticket I'd punched only moments prior to the conductor and ventured on board of the train, eager to begin the hour-long journey through the mountains to the small settlement of Summersville. I don't know if it's going to skip the thing or if it's going to be and the entire episode is us getting there. I wonder if we're going to meet somebody here. The hour-long train ride to Summersville had been occupied with a myriad of entangled thoughts, a fact that had caused my journey to drag on for what felt like an eternity. Of course, at the tender age of 22, being an ancient decrepit person like my own, what did I know about eternity? everything they had learned that afternoon. It was as though I had boarded the train a different man than the one I'd spoken with Ty only hours prior. Or perhaps it was a matter of the same man stepping into a very different world. It was a world where Marsden gave me everything he had to give us. It was a world where Marsden gave everything, oh yeah, the human, he had to give us a shot at a normal life. It was a world where Artemis had once lived, only to leave behind his eternal companion, heartbroken, lost, and alone. But most of all, it was a world where Apollo and Ty had once been an item, a world so cruel as to force them apart, neither willing yet given no choice. A world where Ty's involvement with Apollo had forced him into secrecy in fear of endangering his former lover. And a world where that secrecy would come between us in the months to follow, breaking Ty's heart for a second time in rapid succession for only having done what he believed was the right thing to do. Apollo had shared his secrets with me to relieve Ty of his burden, to free him of the chains he bore for no reason other than Apollo's safety, and it was Apollo's wish that things between Ty and myself could yet be saved. There is a question, though. Why was it that Ty broke it off the first time? Was it because he was still in love with Spencer and wasn't... I mean, he is, but like, thinking like, well, I still have this person, I shouldn't, go on for a new thing. Or did he maybe see signs that were changing? Because, like, I don't know. He's been around people before. I don't know why he would suddenly be like, probably shouldn't be with this person. Because none of us noticed it until, like, Spencer did, I think. Though I guess people did notice it, just Ty didn't. And a last-minute trip to Summersville to retrieve something special to Ty for his birthday, it was the least I could do to make it for my own erratic and volatile behavior. There was nothing that I wouldn't have done, nothing on this earth. At long last, I disembarked the train and stepped out onto the quiet streets of Summersville, which glowed a bright and brilliant orange in the evening sun. Reaching into my pocket, I retrieved a receipt Apollo had given me earlier that day. Putting a minute scale of Summersville into perspective, the train station and the liquor store were located on the very same street. Following the street numbers on the buildings I passed, I began my journey in the southward direction I expected the destination to be, and, sure enough, barely 2 minutes had passed before I found it. I wondered if everything in Summersville was this close by. Despite being a small town, Summersville had quite the impressive liquor store. I mean, sometimes you just gotta. Though granted, I remember the liquor store in my town of 5,000 was pretty small, though I'm not sure if there were other ones. I think there actually were other ones, but still. It was drive-through too, which is weird. I mean, it wasn't exclusively drive-through, but, which seems, I don't know, a bit off. There was a shelf after shelf of bottles, whiskey, vodka, wine, beer. It seemed as though it were a specialty store, which would explain why they were able to procure such a rare bottle for Ty. Arriving at the counter and handing the shopkeeper my receipt, he briefly disappeared through the door into the back of the store, only to return moments later with a distinct and extremely dusty bottle of whiskey. I asked him about the dust, and he informed me that the manufacturer had gone out of business a good 2 decades prior. The lack of popularity likely the only reason the bottle could be procured this many years later for any sort of reasonable price. He would go on to assure me that the bottle, despite appearances, had been kept dry in a dry, dark place. Would it care if it wasn't a dry place, since it's made out of glass? It should be fine, were his words, although I don't know if I'd want to drink it myself. Well, perhaps better suited as a collector's item at this point, it sounded as though Ty had indeed planned to consume it. I hoped that the shopkeeper was true to his word. Then again, if he wasn't, it didn't sound as though there was much that could be done about it anyway. As the shopkeeper packed the bottle into several brown bags for protection on the long journey home, he asked that I give Spencer his regards. I agreed, with a smile, before turning away and leaving the store with Ty's gift safely in hand. I was just thinking, for like old bottles of wine and stuff like that, is it made out of a different type of glass or something like that? Because here's the thing, when it comes to American like old housing, you might notice that the glass on the windows, when I mean old, I mean like over 100 years, you might notice that it's thicker on the bottom, thinner at the top. That's because like glass isn't truly a solid, it's like a semi-solid, so it's slowly being influenced by gravity. But what about bottles of wine and stuff like that? Because it'll be like, here's this bottle of wine which was made during Napoleon's time, hundreds of years ago. How would that survive? Anyways, it was strange. I had taken to calling him Apollo so briskly, something he had only told me in a dream. I suppose the difference between knowing him by the name or not was whether you knew his tale. I'm happy that Apollo had chosen to trust me, even if only for Ty's sake. Although now those same chains of secrecy that held Ty and Lucas also bound me. What would I tell Diego? What would I tell Dom? Without them, I may have never learned the truth. They deserve to know, but Apollo's safety was more important. Yeah, don't tell him. It seemed as though it was not only Ty whose forgiveness I sought. I could only hope Diego and Dom would come to forgive me too. With my objective accomplished, I was now free to determine my next move, and as it would happen, that next move would provide to be somewhat problematic. Once a popular way to transverse great distances, the country's railway network had seen significant neglect in recent years, with government funding continually dwindling. This forced the organization responsible for railway travel to continually cut corners to ensure their survival. This in turn created a vicious cycle of declining services and frustrating commuters looking into alternative methods of transport when train travel would no longer suffice. And among the many cut corners were the late night and overnight provincial services. In short, the next train return to Woodcrest would not be departing until the following morning, and I needed somewhere to stay the night. I began to walk the street in search of lodgings, hoping to find somewhere affordable and comfortable enough to hang my hat for the night. Perhaps I had been foolish. After all, I had quite the run-in of terrible luck so far. I thought of learning the truth, being a treatment for my strange behavior and even stranger nightmares, and having received an olive branch in the form of this whiskey might have marked a change in my fortune. But as would happen, every hotel, motel, and other form of accommodation that can find all display the prominent no vacancy sign, spare for one, with a going rate of over $250 a night, an amount far greater than I currently had in my account. I checked with many, desperately hoping that a last-minute cancellation would be my saving grace, but no dice. It seemed as though I had exhausted my options. There was no way of getting home, nor anywhere to stay. I was thankful, at least, that it wasn't wintertime, and as the setting sun wrapped me in its warmth, while I got myself comfortable, sitting against the brick wall of a closed store in a narrow alleyway. Why don't you just stay at the station? It was somewhat mortifying as I sat there, my formerly damp fur stinking from rain, with a bottle of whiskey and a brown paper bag held close to my chest for protection. At the very least, I had the derelict look down pat. I was incredibly thankful that my one night of vagrancy would be spent somewhere unfamiliar. Knowing my luck, had I been in Woodcrest, I'd have no doubt somebody would have conveniently walked past at the most inopportune time, bearing witness to my sorry state of affairs. I don't know why you just don't go to the station. Adrian? Is that you? This sort of bizarre and chronically unfortunate coincidence could have only happened to me. Lady Luck was one cruel, cruel mistress. I was beginning to think that I had been somewhat cursed. The one person who could have possibly been in Summersville, who just so happened to walk past the exact alleyway I was in at the exact time I had settled down, in a street otherwise almost entirely devoid of people. The possibly unlikely coincidence of it all stung like you wouldn't believe. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or even scream. And really, would any of them make a difference? But if there was one lesson I'd learned for when you're a victim of such a cruel and heartless joke, it was that the only difference in whether people are laughing at you or with you is simply whether you're laughing too. And, while my surprised visitor was hardly laughing, I decided that a joke at my own expense was best preservative for my endangered dignity. And so I prepared the deepest and most gravelly voice I had within, and delivered my finest imitation of only the very greasiest, most disheveled homeless person that I could muster. Hey, kid, birth any change? Adrian, what happened? Since when have you been homeless? Did Diego kick you out? I'm sorry. I didn't know. If you need help, I swear I would. Axel. You can come live with us. Dom will understand. But you've got to take a shower because you kind of stink. And what's in there? Is it alcohol? Do you have a drinking Axel. Huh? Dude, I'm just messing with you. It's not what it looks like. Oh, you're not spending the night in the alleyway clutching a bottle of whiskey then? What? I came to the sudden realization that is exactly what it looked like, merely lacking the proper context. Shit. All of a sudden, the distinct scent of freshly cooked and fragrant foods tickled my nostrils, drawing my attention to the plastic container hanging from Axel's left hand. It served as a cruel and jarring reminder that I hadn't eaten since breakfast at the cafe, and boy, was I hungry. There's no way I'm letting you spend the night here like this. Get up, you can spend the night with me. Axel's expression was a blend of defiance, confusion, and hurt. Of course, his heart was always in the right place, with today being no exception, as he grabbed my arm and desperately tried to pull me to my feet. Alas, he was only very small, and had spent 2 weeks with Diego's diet of pure grease. But thankful for him, I was of no mind to resist the offer, instead willing to climb to my feet beside my feline friend, with the bottle of whiskey still clutched firmly in hand. I motioned for Axel to lead the way, and the two of us began our journey to wherever our shared destination would be. It was just as well, too. I owed Axel something of an explanation. I've got so many questions. Why are you here? What's with the alcohol? Why are you in that alleyway? And why do you smell like spoiled milk? I thought I smelled like fate. Thanks, man. Spoiled milk? Surely it's not that bad, right? I promise it's not my new cologne or anything. But what is it then? I'm a husky. I've got that crazy snow fur. All the dirt and water gets trapped, and you wind up smelling a little funky afterwards. And that was one hell of a storm we had earlier on. Storm? What do you mean? It's been dry all day. Eh? I reached into my pocket, retrieved my phone, and fired up the weather app. I was sure that part of it had been real, and if it wasn't, the implications of that were distinctly terrifying though. I mean, Axel's talking about his local area, right? We were in another town over. And you know, there could be like a pretty bad storm in a small area, just saying. First came panic when I saw the total absence of precipitation on the hourly forecast. Only to breathe a distinct sigh of relief as I realized that my phone had geolocated me to Summersville, and that switching back to Woodcrest revealed several hours with dark rain clouds accompanied by bolts of lightning. What? Huh? What was that big sigh for? Oh, don't worry about it. I've just had a long day. That's all. It rained in Woodcrest earlier. I only just got here about 20 minutes ago. You took the last train on Sunday afternoon? Why? Well, to tell you the truth, it's Ty's birthday tomorrow, and with the help of a good friend, I managed to track down something really special for him. Now I'm even more confused. I thought you guys weren't together anymore. We're not, but to tell you the truth, I feel like I've made a terrible mistake. I overheard something, and when Ty wouldn't tell me the full story, I guess I bluffed. I told him I would leave him if he didn't. I don't even think I realized what I was doing at the time. I was so angry. Next thing I knew, I was back home, telling Diego, well, my stupid ass has gone done. The point is, I've come to realize just how far I fell for Ty, and in the short time that we're an item. I've since come to realize that I love him, and I've since come to realize just how mistaken I was, having finally heard the full story. So, I rushed out here on a moment's notice, barely arriving in time for the last train, so that I could secure this gift. I just hope that's enough, and that it's not too late to change things between us. What kind of gift? Why can't you get in Woodcrest instead? I held up the bottle of whiskey, pulling it from the bag, just enough to reveal the dusty label to Axel. They haven't made this brand in 20 or so years, or so I'm told. Axel's grandmother used to drink this brand. He used to have nightmares a lot as a kid. She would give him a shot of this to calm his nerves and help him go back to sleep. Giving a kid alcohol? Apparently, it was quite common practice in those days, and it seems as though it worked too. Ty has nothing but fond memories of his grandma, and fond memories of the taste of this particular whiskey. It's something he has longed to taste again for quite some time. Oh, here's the thing. If it was back in my day and we're talking, and when I'm talking back in my day, I'm like the 90s or something like that, and you're going, hey, giving alcohol to somebody Ty's age, which would put it like, what, 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, let's just say he's 40 and go 50s. I can understand the 60s and 50s, you know, but right now this is like, well, okay, alternative universe, this is like, what, 8,000, year 8,000 or something like that, I don't know, but let's just say this is comparable to our universe, and it's like actually it says 2020 or 2023 on the calendar, which is kind of weird. Maybe it's like Sin's Emergence Day or something, but that would, let's just say he's like 40 years old, that'd be like in the 80s? Or like if he's 30 then in the 90s, which doesn't seem like whiskey giving kids time. Unless, though I guess she is a grandparent, so she might be like, this is what we used to do in my day. Also be racist. I see. That's so cute. Do you think he'll love it as much that he'll take you back? I don't know. If he doesn't, I can't say I blame him. I feel like an idiot. He deserves better than that. But I hope so. I really, truly hope so. I want a chance to make things right. I want to do better this time. Aw, I'm sure he'll love it. Ties in the sort to old crutches. Once, I knocked a whole plate of food off the counter in his kitchen when I was delivering produce. I was so scared that he'd get angry with me. I cried. But he gave me a big hug, and he laughed about it, saying he'd give the customer the floor discount and make a new one for them. I'm sure he'll forgive you too. I couldn't help but smile. I knew the two were acquainted professionally, but it was a cute story that only went on to reinforce Ty's kind-hearted nature in my mind. Thanks, Axel. Here's hoping. Eh? Yep. So, you came here with no accommodation plan then? That's right. It was such a last-minute thing. I can't say I expected Summersville to be all booked out like this. Who knew this place was so popular? On Sunday nights of all nights. The only place with vacancies was too expensive for me. There's a fishing competition happening at the nearby lake. Lots of tourists come out of town at this very time of year to compete. Huh. Fishing competition. I guess that explains it then. But what about you? Don't you work Monday to Friday? Why are you still here? Oh, I have tomorrow off. Boss has been on my back because I have too much leave accrued. So I've taken a few 3-day weekends. Usually I visit parents on Friday nights and come back Sunday, but this week I came on Sunday and Saturday instead. I'm heading on tomorrow morning. Yesterday, huh? I take it you'd stop feeling sick by then? Treading right through windy mountains when you're feeling all queasy doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I started feeling better right after you left the hot springs. But then I got sick again, and Dom got mad. He got mad? Why? He was mad that I stopped for ice cream. No, I mean after the hot springs. Yeah. You stopped for ice cream again? I was feeling better when we went past, but I got all queasy again. Yeesh, no wonder you can smell spoiled milk. I bet that's what your ice cream was made out of. Ew, gross. But it didn't taste bad. I'd stay away from the ice cream place if I were you. Yeah. Oh, I was wondering, was Ty's gift expensive? Oh, yeah, massively so. But oh, that's why I need spare change. Oh, no. The only change I need is a change of clothes. And maybe a change in shitty luck I've been having. Maybe then I could find a place we could spend the night. It's okay. You can come stay with me tonight. I promise Mom and Dad won't mind. It'll be a sleepover. Sleepover? Jeez, it's been a while since I've had one of those. Then again, I guess it depends on what you count as sleepover. I did stay at Ty's house that one night, and with Diego every night like a sleepover. Yep, I've only been living with Dom for a few days now, but I feel the same way. It's so nice having him there all the time. I don't get lonely anymore. Aw, I'm glad to hear that, Axel. I might not be Dom, but hopefully I can stop you from feeling lonely while we're in Summersville too. Heh, it's okay. It's a possibility to be lonely with my parents around. Oh, that sounds oddly concerning. What do you mean by that? You'll see. Great. As long as you don't tell him you saw me in full hobo mode, okay? Smelled you too. You should keep your distance from them until you've taken a shower. You smell bad. My self-esteem is in tatters. Next and I chattered as we continued our walk, passing the short time before we arrived at his parents' abode. It was, as I had thought earlier, everything in Summersville was close by, even more so than the comparatively massive Woodcrest. And I think with that, it's a good time to call it. Oh, and I think this is where we're gonna meet His parents, which I don't remember 100% what they look like, but I'm pretty sure that Axel's mom's a MILF. Just saying. Especially if they're made by that one artist. Like, I know they're not made by that one artist, but what are they called? Doggy Bones? Dog. Not Xenoforge. Oh, you know the person that makes all the furry MILFs. But anyways, focus, GamerWolf. Stop thinking about curvy furry MILFs. Comment, cause I like comments, if you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise stop looking at wolf pussy. If you like my YouTube and like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos too. Up and growing, please remember to survey near your animals to control the pet population. And if you're interested in playing this game, it's available free on itch.io. And please remember Spain, itch.io. Sorry, this music sounds so familiar, and my brain was like, where have we heard this before? I cannot place it. And if you want to get the most up-to-date version of this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, which is $5 a month, $54 a year. And until next time, another Let's Play by me, GamerWolfSix, Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. So thanks and see ya.